I remember being one of the first ones. I signed up to be one of the first ones, and I was glad I did it. And then I went home after I went to this meeting, and I went, oh my gosh, I can't believe I did this. But it is a really great experience to really delve into who you are and maybe who you are as a teacher. I actually want to introduce the idea that your biographies will and should evolve. And I got a lot of great feedback from my fellows, and I've since added some things. I've added pictures of ancestors like they told me to do. I have added some, it's a valuable artifact from my family, and I've shared this with my students, which has helped foster a really much deeper relationship with them at school. I still need to add some things to it because I am missing a few pieces, but I'm going to start off with my autobiography. Okay, so this is a picture of Charlie's Gardens in McCall, Idaho, 2008, and I'm from McCall. And so as I ponder my personal narrative, a connection to place and ancestry come to mind. I've lived in McCall, Idaho all my life, and my family has lived on this land, fished its many streams and lakes, hunted its game, camped in the woods, picked its huckleberries, skied its mountains, ranched and farmed, boated and water skied on Pale Lake, logged the local forests, owned or worked in local businesses, raised their families, taught in the schools, and died in this place. As my ancestors were born of this soil, this water, these trees, these mountains, so many returned their bodies to the earth in the local cemeteries. So let's go back. First of all, I'm going to show you a picture of my recent family. This is me and my husband with our two sons, and our oldest son, Scott, who is on this side, and his wife, Fallon, and our dog, Piper. So this is the picture, I guess I'm the fourth generation in Long Valley, and my kids would be the fifth. And I'm going to take you back now to my connection to my ancestors. So we're going to go back. This is, first of all, a photo that I just found of a relative. This was the actual picture taken in 1885 of a woman. Her name was Alice Portner. She was believed to be a relative of my great-grandmother, Lesta Coonrod. And we're going to go back to Van Wyck, Idaho in 1900. Let's go back 4 generations to Van Wyck, Idaho, a community no longer that exists. The waters of Cascade Reservoir, whose construction began before World War II and finished in 1948, covered this bustling railroad community. From my vantage point, it's always going to be a reservoir, even though it was designated as a lake in 2004 by the Idaho legislature. My grandmother was born in Van Wyck, Idaho in 1908, and her mother was a teacher in Roseberry, Idaho, and later in McCall. This is a picture that I want to insert. This is a recent picture just off Highway 55. If you are in Donley and you head due east, this is the Roseberry Museum. And I took a lot of my pictures that you're going to see at this historical museum. It's a historical site. And this is a bird's eye view, what they call the bird's eye view of Van Wyck, Idaho. Right here it says bird's eye view of Van Wyck, Idaho. So this community is underwater. You know, it no longer exists, but this is where my grandmother was born. So being a teacher at McCall Donley High and reflecting on my history in Long Valley, I feel a kinship with my great-grandmother that I didn't have when I was younger. These are some relatives that lived in Long Valley. This would have been my great-grandfather and great-grandmother. This was an actual photo that I found as well, and just took a picture of that and included it in my slideshow. And this is my grandmother, Faye Elma Coonrod. She was the one who was born in Van Wyck, and my grandfather, Stanley Elder Wallace. This is a picture of my grandfather in the 1930s, standing on the old homestead that is now still in Donley, Idaho. I chose to put this in. Lesta's name is underlined there. She was one of the teachers in 1927 at the school in Roseberry. She later taught in McCall as well. So this place is a really harsh place, and I grew to feel, you know, very much admiration for my ancestors, because this place of harsh winters and short summers was not an easy lifestyle. I've grown to admire the resourcefulness and the toughness that comes from living in central Idaho the mountain communities there. My dad and his brothers and sisters used to ski to school in the winter, and sometimes had to spend the night at relatives or friends if a harsh winter storm came through. So I'm going to move forward a little bit. And this was just a picture of my great-grandmother, who was a teacher in Long Valley from 1927 to the 1950s. And now we're going to move on to McCall and Payette Lake's little ski hill. This is really an old photograph, and I know it's not one of the best, but this bus right here says Brown Tie and Lumber Company. And the logging company used to sponsor a ski bus. And so all the kids, after school, every day in McCall, would get on the ski bus and go to the little ski hill, and they could ski after school. And so my dad, who was born in Donley, Idaho, in 1934, was a champion Nordic ski jumper in high school and his first year of college. The A-jump, as it was called, was built with old-growth timbers and no longer exists today. My dad and his siblings, then me and my siblings, all learned to ski at the Payette Lake's Little Ski Hill, which was opened in 1937, the second ski hill to open in Idaho after Sun Valley. School buses would transport children from school to the ski hill daily when I was growing up. My childhood was a dream life in many ways, considering all the outdoor fun. I believe the constant interaction with the outdoors helped shape my identity as a teacher. I engage students in learning by using the outdoors. We have natural science laboratories and observation opportunities literally outside our school doors. My mom was born in Caldwell, Idaho. Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of pictures of her, but this is a picture of my dad, who was the ski jumper. That was his high school graduation picture. And I'm going to get to the story in just a minute. So my mom was born in Caldwell, Idaho in 1935, and she was raised in the old-fashioned way of farming and ranching. Their family raised all their own food in Caldwell, Star, and Middleton. They had pasture land and milk cows and had a big garden. And my mother moved to McCall in 1950, where her family grew wheat, barley, and clover seed. She graduated from McCall Donley High School in 1952 with my dad. And my mom's family, they would leave the 9-month-long winters, believe me, they are pretty long, in McCall for about a month in March. And they would camp along the rivers and lakes in Arizona. And they just took their homework with them. I don't know how many kids can get away with that now in high school. So I'm the eldest of 3 children. However, an older sister, Penny Elizabeth, who died at the age of 11 days, is buried beneath an old-growth pine in the beautiful McCall Cemetery. There's this old-growth pine. Again, it's not the best picture, but her short life, even though I did not know her, has caused me to ask, what would it have been like to have an older sister? How would things have been different? Also, now that I am a mom of 2 wonderful boys, I ask myself the question, how did my parents live through this heartbreak? So at my time of birth, my parents were stationed at Fort Huachuca, Arizona for a 2-year stint in the Army. And in 1959, my family moved back home, working in the family logging business. And McCall was really a bustling logging community, and it always had been until the mill shut down in 1977. That was the Boise Cascade Mill. As a kid, I remember the whistle that would blow every day at noon from the sawmill, signaling lunch break, and again at 5 p.m. for short shift changes at the mill. Walking around the millside as a kid, I would smell the piney freshness of newly cut trees, see the wet logs corralled in the lake by the big log boom, get sawdust stuck in my jeans and shoes, and gaze with curiosity at the big burner. My sister and I used to sit in the old logging trucks when we were very little. It felt so high up, like you were in a 5-story building. Summers on the lake as a kid, well, that was really quite fun too. Swimming at the beach, getting sunburns that put you in bed with a fever, blisters the size of pancakes on your shoulders. Playing on inner tubes. These were no ordinary inner tubes. These were logging truck tire inner tubes, the very best to bounce your friends off with. So during high school, adventures were always tempting, and we thought